You guys ready to get into these topics, man?
Yes, sir.
Let's talk. R. Kelly is in the news because Selena Johnson, who's an R&B singer who actually performed with R. Kelly on a couple of her songs, his songs. She said that we should be able to listen to R. Kelly's songs. I know a lot of people want to cancel R. Kelly because of everything he's going through with the his trial and all that stuff. But he said because at that particular time, you were coming from a pure place and you received something lyrically when you were listening to R. Kelly when you first heard it. Let me start out with you. Do you still listen to R. Kelly?
Yeah.
No? Nope.
Yes.
You do? Okay. Do you buy into people saying that you should cancel R. Kelly, not listen to his music because of everything he's going through right now?
I mean, I'm from Chicago. We all knew R. Kelly was a weirdo from the jump. You know what I'm saying? So I listen to the music, and I noticed since I moved out here to L.A., I don't really like to meet the stars that I listen to and watch because so many of us are weirdos. You know what I'm saying?
True.
And when you meet them, sometimes it blow it for you.
Yeah.
But I already knew R. Kelly was crazy, so that's why it's kind of like I can just put it all in the back of my head.
Right. Well, we got into that whole cancel culture, man. Like sometimes, like people look at Bill Cosby, they ain't want to run Bill Cosby stuff for a while or whatnot. So anytime somebody's going through anything controversial, all of a sudden you just got to stop listening or watching the art. Is that right, Zoe?
Yeah, and I mean, you have to remember this. The cancel culture is not a new culture. Most people think in black and white. It either is or isn't. And if somebody that used to be a hero or somebody you loved gets villainized or does something terrible, then typically people turn them off. It's really that simple. But if you're looking at it from a musical space, R. Kelly did a lot of great music.
Yeah.
And his music should be separated from his personal behavior.
Yeah, a lot of people can't do that. They can't separate the person from the art.
No, I totally agree with what Zoe just said. But what's hard for me is to support because of what he's going through.
Right.
And we're talking about young ladies, and I have daughters.
Yeah.
So that's hard for me to wrap my arms around that. It'd be hard for me to support someone who's done something of that nature when it comes to kids.
Right. So it's one thing to buy the music. Go ahead, clap it up. It's one thing to buy the music. It's another thing when the music comes on, you hear it. Like you hear, I believe I can fly.
No, do a better one. Yeah.
Bump and grind.
But I was trying to keep it positive.
No, we gotta keep it real. Bump and grind.
Bump and grind. You hear bump and grind and whatnot. You kind of get into it a little bit.
Well, if you go to other countries, I'm just saying, in America, most people only know what they know in America, but I've been to other countries, and in Iceland, I think the legal age to get with a girl is 13 years old.
Oh, my God.
Right, it blows people's mind when they hear it. But in Iceland, R. Kelly is not a criminal.
He's trying to get extradited.
He's a normal guy in Iceland. I went to Iceland, and you just can't offer him money and gifts. And I thought that was so unfair that you couldn't give him nothing after you was done with him.
This dude crazy.
I'm not going to Iceland.
So I assume you've been to Iceland and you took advantage of the laws. Is that what you're saying?
I had a great time in Iceland.
Wait, we're not going to go there. We're not going to go there.
We ain't going there.
You had fun in Iceland.
Hey, listen, I understand people in America have certain laws they know.
Corey, we can't talk about little girls. They don't say you had fun.
It wasn't little girls. They were of age.
They were of age.
They were of age.
That's right.
They were of age.
And we were talking about
They were of age. Corey was with women of age. Let's just say
That's
that.
right.
That's the best way to
I
do
would
it.
never cross the law.
You wouldn't?
Well, I'm not sweating already. I ain't do nothing wrong.
You didn't start sweating when I said that.
Here's the thing, though. With R. Kelly talking about supporting it, sometimes it's hard for me to know that some of the lyrics are talking about girls being underage.
Yes.
And that's what makes me a little hesitant to really not necessarily even support him, because I won't support him, I won't buy his music, but even listen. It's like when you hear, seems like you're ready, you know what that's about.
Yes.
Yeah, but see, my mind don't go in the gutter like that.
But that's what it's about, though.
I don't know that's what it's about.
But that's we heard that's what it's about.
But that's what
it's
the
come
young
out. That's what they said.
lady
That's
what they said?
Yeah, that's when. Yeah.
Well, I
that's
don't look
what
at
the
it like
young
that. I
lady
look
is saying.
What young
every
lady?
time I look at music, I'm in my own zone and I'm thinking about what I'm about to do. You know what I'm saying? So I love R. Kelly's music, but you know what I mean. But I understand what he did was wrong. But at the end of the day, like, I don't think about the nastiness and all that when I listen to his music. So I was like, sometimes we can support it if, I'm not supported, but listen to it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Without thinking about all the nasty shit he done.
Yeah. And I think Mike brings up a great point with regard to once you find out what his inspiration was, right, then you're like, okay, well, how I used to listen to it is different now because I have context for how he put the damn records together.
Right.
It's just nasty.
But it's still hearsay.
Yeah.
Is it?
It's hearsay.
My mind don't go that far though.
It's hearsay.
Everybody got inspiration from somewhere.
So he's convicted, Corey?
All of the girls that didn't get what they wanted out of the deal, they told on him. And the ones that did get what
Then
they
there's
want,
that.
they still support him.
Well, I thought the ones that were still supporting him quit supporting him just recently.
Well, they once they find out that he gonna be in jail and they can't get no money, they like, well, I'm going with the group.
And what about the parents who knew and allowed their kids to go for the little bread, the little kickback?
They're just as guilty.
They should go to jail with
Yes,
her.
they
They are
should.
just as guilty.
Yeah.
But she also went on to say that if you're listening to or watching Harvey Weinstein movies, and he made a lot of movies out there, you're supporting that.
Right.
Are you just as wrong if you're saying that you won't
point.
support R. Kelly?
We
Same
got to
thing.
ask Oprah and Gail that question.
Right. I think it's different when you black though. I really do. Like when I'm going to some restaurants, like especially this chain called Houston, they always make sure I take my hat off. And then I always look around and I see a white guy with his hat on. I said, why is his hat on? They was like, oh. I was like, you don't even think to tell him to take his hat off. You think differently about me.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying? That's how it really
Well,
goes.
you know what that is, because when they look at us, we're not normal.
How about
You know,
that?
let's just be honest.
Or
I mean,
human,
You
for
just
that.
said it. We're not normal. The norm is it's okay for the Caucasian man to keep his hat on.
Right.
They don't even think to tell him to take it off.
Hey,
You?
you just said it. And so the brother's got to take his hat off. I mean, and that to me, that's the racial bias that goes on in our country.
Since we on that topic, I want to segue into another story that we was going to do later on. But even if you take your hat off, sometimes they have a bias against you if your hair is a certain way.
Oh, yeah.
Because in Alabama, they just basically said that there's a law that they can discriminate against you if you wear your hair in cornrows. A lady tried to apply for a job. And they didn't give it to her based on the fact that she has cornrows. We know what happened with the young man down in Houston, or in Texas, I should say, that won't be able to graduate or walk with his class because his hair comes down to his collar or whatnot. Why is it that we still are being discriminated for jobs and other things when it comes to the way we wear our hair here?
You know, I there's no question. I totally agree with what you're saying. You know, I think the culture and what's gone on and all the different issues that are behind that. I don't understand the law behind it, but I will say this. Before you take a job or before you do anything, go to school, you better make sure you know what the rules are now. Don't put yourself in a situation where they have to make that decision. I think you kind of know what that job's requirements are. Somewhere in there it says you can't wear cornrows, you know, or you can't have braids. And so that's the job you need to stay away from.
Why? But you know what? With so many few jobs that are out there
No
for
doubt.
African Americans, you know, why is it that I can't get a job based on my hair when my white counterpart can get a job and he doesn't wear his hair like mine? Why is there a rule for cornrows where white people don't wear their hair in cornrows? That's just totally wrong. That shouldn't even be on the books, period. Corey?
Well, I'm saying my opinion about the whole thing is we live in a country that wants to control what's going on. The people who are in power, they want to control you because you can't wear the cornrows, but I guarantee you that young man is allowed to wear a dress. You know what I mean? You can do that, but you can't do this. So it's crazy if you really think about what they come at us with. I'm talking about the powers that be and what their motivation is. It's really scary if you think about it, because see, if you just use logic and say what it is, and the truth is racism is alive and has never gone nowhere.
Absolutely.
That's what's happening. You see what I'm saying? We want to see you in a dress, but you can't wear your hair like that.
Wow, so
which is
even
a
if you're
natural
wearing a dress,
hairstyle.
you can't wear your hair long in the dress. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Really, that's basically what they're
Good
saying.
point.
Bald little boy in a dress.
Right.
And we're not saying anything's wrong with if you're wearing a dress, if that's what you want to do or whatever, that's the way
Absolutely.
our views here. Yes, wear a dress if that's what you want to do. But what we're saying is like if you're wearing a dress and you're wearing your hair long, then you're going to be discriminated against not because of wearing the dress. If you're a man, you're being discriminated because you're wearing your hair long
Your hair.
or in a certain hairstyle. And I just don't understand the logic there at all, Zo.
It's an attack on culture. If an oppressive, racist system is signing your check, they get to police your culture. It's really that simple. We want you to look like this. We want you to behave like this. We want you to perform like this. And if the aesthetic doesn't match our view of what a professional is, you don't get to be here.
Right, right.
And it's really unfortunate because a lot of us believe in that old paradigm of if you get a good education, you work hard, you go into the workforce. But what our parents didn't tell us, part of being successful and black in America requires you to capitulate to the dominant racist society.
Yes.
Don't talk shit to your boss. You better act right.
That means
you better
act
put
like
your
a white
head
man.
down.
Yes.
Right. You better don't you mess this up.
Pull your pants up.
You understand what I'm saying? It's an attack on culture.
That happened to me when I was in Dallas. I got fired from a job because I didn't capitulate, because I didn't go by the rules, because I didn't conform. I tried to conform, but I told the man, look, I'm a sportscaster. He said, you want to be a black sportscaster? You want to be a sportscaster?
Look at that.
I said, I'm a sportscaster who happens to be black. I'm not trying to be a black sportscaster, but I'm like, you know what? Yes, we could be two fruits, but you can't make an apple into an orange.
Look at
I
that.
cannot be like you.
That's why I told you when I walked in, I was glad to see you because I know that you have principles you'll stand by.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
for you to be here
Yeah.
is already something that I feel like, hey, that's a win.
Well,
Because
thank you,
I
bro.
know who you are a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
You're going to stand on yours.
Let me ask my man Hugh something. Does that happen in the NFL a lot? Like a lot of
Oh, absolutely.
racism?
Well, I'm not going to say it's just racism, but if you just look at the data, you know, this is the 100-year history of the National Football League, and there's only been 18 minority head coaches in 100 years.
And you're one of them.
I'm one of them.
Yeah.
And he's one that's had two
Yes.
coaching jobs in the NFL.
Yes, I have. I was
And that's
been
rare.
fortunate. Very rare.
And fired wrongfully.
Right,
That's my man.
and not given an opportunity,
Yes.
a proper opportunity.
Right.
When other people are
Yeah.
allowed to go through something and fail
Yeah.
and whatnot, you weren't. I can go on for days.
Yeah.
You know how I feel about that.
You know,
Right?
I'm just
Don't
saying.
get me started on
This
that,
is
bro.
my view.
Oh my God.
My man took over bum ass teams and trying to build them, but they didn't let him get the same choice. I mean, same
The respect.
respect as the
Or the
other white
opportunities,
counterparts.
yeah.
Or
Definitely.
time.
I watched them let the brothers
Yeah.
build a team up. But then when it's time to win the Super Bowl, the brother ain't coaching no
Yeah.
more.
Right. They tried to
And
do that with
everybody
Tony
sees
Dungy
this.
with the Tampa Bay
They
Bucks.
did that to Tony
Yeah, they did it to Tony, and then
Right.
What's his name? Chucky.
John Gruden.
John Gruden wins with his players.
Tony Dungy.
And then
Yeah.
Tony Dungy's players.
Yeah.
And then Tony Dungy does go to Indianapolis and does
And
win the
finally
Super Bowl.
wins one,
And wins
yeah.
the Super Bowl. But that's just how it goes sometimes, man. Speaking of that, though, because when you coach the Cleveland Browns, of course, you brought in Myles Garrett. Of course, everybody knows about Myles Garrett, the Cleveland Brown defensive end, tough, great guy. On the football field and off the football field, but he got into that incident with Mason Rudolph where he swung the helmet. Everybody hear about that? Remember that when he got suspended? Yeah. He just got reinstated, and he's sticking by his assertion that Mason Rudolph called him the N-word during that altercation.
He did.
Okay. Now the NFL. Now Mike Tomlin's upset because he's saying ESPN didn't basically come out and say that the NFL did their review, found no indication that he called him the N-word. There's no audio of him calling him the N-word or whatever. So we can have our opinion on whether he called him the N-word or not. But you know Myles personally, and you know what kind of person he is and his character. Is he the type of person, that kind of character, that would lie about something like that?
I don't think he would.
Okay.
I've always felt that, but I just think there's a time and a place to deal with what happened. You know, when you look at it, we as coaches, you know, we try to teach our players responsibility on the field and off the field to do things the right way. And when you look at it, it doesn't just go, it goes both ways. I think the media has to do the same thing too. They're reporting these particular incidents. It becomes, the narrative has changed from the beginning, then it changes back. And at the end of the day, the league and the Pittsburgh Steelers both investigated. They said it didn't happen.
Okay.
So they did their due diligence.
Right.
So we can't ignore that, you know, at all.
But it doesn't mean that it didn't.
You just said it. We don't know. I mean, I trust Myles. I believe in Myles. If I was the coach there, I'd be saying, I back my player because I think I know him that way. Now, I wasn't there last year, so I can't speak on that. But at the same time, I just think, first, the media needs to be careful, especially these kind of sensitive issues. And then I think Myles got to take it and own it. You know, when it's all said and done, this man lost over, what, $1.4 million?
Yeah, he's got to spend the last 6 games of the season.
And now you're back in the National Football League, and to bring it back up does what?
So you said he should have just left it alone, not even said anything else
Because he's
about
already
it?
said it.
Right, he said it before.
He's already said it, and they've said it didn't happen. So to me, to bring it back up again, what does it do?
Okay.